YouTube, you could be a couple days behind because YouTube tends to censor Trump and MAGA related content. But we get it to you as soon as we can. What up, folks? Once again, it is your boy Tim with another, I'm about to say it again. It's your boy Tim the Handsome Liver with another video. We're going to be talking about today, particularly, are we dealing with a case of President Trump going at it alone versus the Republican Party? And what I'm suggesting is, because I understand the Commander-in-Chief President Trump, or former President Trump, often makes it an issue of himself versus liberals constantly attacking him, constantly trying to prevent him from being the 47th president of the country. However, as you see, the piece is titled Republicans versus Trump. So where the hell does that come from? I'm going to be asking the question, why are there so many Republicans on the opposing side of President Trump? Why are there so many Republicans standing up, ready to testify against the guy, saying bad things about him? We're not talking about Chris Christie or a host of or a few Republicans running against President Trump for the title of presidency. Make no mistake about it, there's a hell of a lot of folks, particularly down in Georgia, where we expect an indictment perhaps as soon as tomorrow. There's a lot of Republicans not running for office that are on television, writing books, testifying in court, stating that they're willing to testify in court, saying bad things about the former president. Are they all lying? Why is that? If President Trump presents the next best path forward for this country, getting our economy back on par, preventing World War III from breaking out, and just essentially leading us down a better path, why are there so many Republicans who associate with the very same party as the Commander-in-Chief himself? Why are there so many Republicans speaking ill of President Trump? Why is that? I've had folks on the show suggest that President Trump is the next best president since Ronald Reagan. Some have stated he's the best president we've had in our lifetime. Some have said he's the best president we've ever had in this country's history. Yet there are a host of Republicans suggesting that President Trump perhaps committed crimes. Others are saying that they don't believe he is the best path going forward. Others are saying he's too divisive. Why is that happening? As always, this is a MAGA-friendly program in its entirety. Always is, always will be. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. We do not block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. So understand, when you come in the box or when you're in the comment section, you never, and I repeat, you never ever have to agree with the host. Nobody's going to censor, block, ban, or even limit your time if we're having a conversation simply because you disagree with the host. You're entitled to free speech. That will always be protected and observed here as long as the host can do so. All right, looking in the comments, GOP Republicans are scared about Georgia. What may come out of the indictment? User 73, I'd like to know, what do you think the Republican Party is frightened of that may come out of the indictment of President Trump? I'd be curious to know that. Before we go to the box, continuing on in the comments, Trump supporters got their education from Trump kindergarten school. What the hell does that mean? White man's lapdog, good boy, says high hopes. Now that's a new one. Generally, it's Uncle Tom, Sellout, Sambo. Obviously, any person making a comment like that has not listened to the damn program. They're using their eyes and not their ears. They're not even reading. They're just simply seeing something and making a statement. We get them all the time. And welcome to the program, by the way. It means poorly educated. Fair enough. All right, we're going to go to the box right off the bat. We're asking the question, if President Trump presents the best path going forward for this nation, getting us back on track, economy, preventing World War III from kicking off, fuel, oil, energy independence, why are there so many Republicans speaking ill of the former president? Going to the box, we'll start it right off with Priscilla Gonzalez. Good afternoon, Priscilla. Welcome to the program. So why are there so many Republicans speaking ill of the former president?
Because he's a sadistic fuck, that's why. So there is no conceivable way that he's going to let go of his narcissism to actually put the people forward.
But do the American voters, or even the Republican Party, or hell, even the Democrats for that matter, do we care if our leader is a narcissist?
Of course we care. He also wants to be authoritarian, and he wants to push forward Project 2025.
Elaborate on Project 2025.
Sure. So Project 2025 is basically going to establish that women have no rights. Our LGBTQIA community is going to be dissolved, and it's pretty much going to put the United States into a theocracy. And if anybody else wants to Google Project 2025, Google it, and it will scare you. That's what the GOP has planned.
What is making you believe that President Trump wants to dissolve the LGBT community?
Well, first of all, Ron DeSantis said it. He actually says it himself. If you listen to his speeches, he says he wants to get rid of transgender.
But you're blaming, you're suggesting that Trump wants to do something you're hearing from Ron DeSantis. What has Trump said to make you believe that?
I hear every single word that comes out of Trump's mouth that was actually said by Trump. He wants to get rid of transgender. That's what he says.
How is he going to do it Hitler style? How can he get rid of transgender?
He can't. He's just a sadistic fuck that just says what the GOP wants him to say. I mean, it's not a secret. He blames undocumented immigrants for all of their problems. He sides with Governor Greg Abbott when it comes to putting raised barbed wire and sharp blades by the border where you can't even see, where women have actually been unalived, pregnant women. So Republicans claim to be pro-life. That's not the case.
So, but I just want to go deeper into this. So, if the goal is to get rid of the transgender community, and let's say, for instance, or not transgender, but the LGBT community as a whole, which covers even more people, but even if the Republicans were to favor something like this, and I'm not saying they do, how would he even convey to them a method of operation to make this happen? I mean, that sounds so far-fetched. Even if you favored it, you'd have to ask, how are you going to get rid of the LGBT community?
You already know the answer to this. I feel like that's a rhetorical question, but there's no way he can actually get rid of the transgender community. He also says as soon as he's reinstated, he's going to ban transgenders from being in the military. So his military ban is going to go forward again. So I don't know what sadistic fuck would actually even vote for him at this moment, because Republicans are jumping ship.
So how do you feel about Republicans suggesting that, say, with President Biden, and I'm coming at you from the other side for obvious reasons, Republicans believe, for instance, that continuing to supply the Ukraine with money, first of all, is not looking out for America first, but also by putting us on the opposing side of Russia, as opposed to what you're talking about, what we fear from Trump, Biden could potentially get us into World War III. How do you respond to something like that?
So the entire World War III concept, first of all, I do have to say I'm not an expert in speaking on international affairs, so I cannot speak on Ukraine or Russia. I'm just going to give you my uneducated opinion, which is going to be that we didn't actually give money to Ukraine. We actually gave weapons that we weren't actually using and machines that we weren't actually using. So I would delegate that question to somebody who has authority, someone who has an expertise in international affairs, because I don't have those qualifications. Do you?
Okay. Well, and I'll just say this in regards to not giving the Ukraine actual cash and giving them weapons. Fact is, it costs money to maintain. It costs money to fuel. It costs money to put weapons on that equipment. We're spending money in Ukraine, whether we're giving it to them in paper bills or in numbers. It's costing America money to help them with their effort.
How do you know this? And what are your qualifications for speaking on this issue?
If I send you a tank, that tank is worth money. I don't care if the tank is 50 years old. I could sell it to somebody and get money. If I give it to you for free and you get blown up, I lost money.
But I asked you for your qualifications for speaking on this issue.
Life? I mean, we're talking about a tangible item that costs money to create, that is in your possession and still has value.
That we're not using?
Doesn't matter. It's still, you want somebody to come in your house and take out every item you're not using? It's still valuable.
You know what? I wouldn't even care if people use my stuff.
Okay, then that's a
I'm a,
different.
I'm a, I'm a, I'm a servant to the community. I'm running for office right now. I don't care. I'm not here for myself and me and my stuff. I'm here for the people.
Okay,
So
all right,
I
there's
don't
nothing wrong
really
with
care
that.
if somebody else uses my stuff. If I have billions of dollars, if I have millions of dollars, why wouldn't I share that with the public?
Fair enough, but you do realize that that particular mindset that you just stated is going to lead folks to suggest you're promoting socialism, right?
Oh, come on. We all use the fire department, right? We all use the police department. We all use the hospital when we actually can't afford our medical bills, right?
Yeah, and that is in the.
That's just a load of fuckery.
But wait a minute, you mentioned the fire department, you mentioned the police department. You would agree that the funding for those departments is ran on a socialist-based type system, right?
Of course, it's just like universal health care, except the United States just doesn't want to admit that we're actually part socialist already. We have socialist programs. We have housing, we have SNAP, we have EBT, we have social programs for our billionaires, but the majority of people actually, Republicans have convinced poor people that poor people are the problem. And that is not the case. If you look at all the deductions that rich people get, if you look at all the welfare that corporate organizations get, I mean, come on, this is just a load of fuckery.
So, and I'm not totally disagreeing with you because I lean left on some of the things you're stating, but just for shits and giggles, it sounds like you do, when you point out the fire department and things like that, that we do have some socialist-based programs, it sounds like you do want to expand the amount of socialist-based programs in this country.
The only thing I want to expand is actually universal health care. And we don't even have universal health care. If you know the Republican health care plan, do you know what that is?
No, I don't.
There is none. It's a joke.
That's why I don't know it.
Republican healthcare plan.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I do agree with that. I'm not going, I talk about this all the time on the program when it comes to firearms deaths. A lot of Republicans say it's not the guns, it's mental health. But then when you look at the mental health accessibility in Republican areas, it's no better than anywhere else. So that part I do agree with. But Priscilla, I got to move it on. You know how we do.
Sure.
Good talk.
I do want to make one last announcement.
Let's have it.
I'm running for mayor president of Lafayette, Louisiana. I'd appreciate any type of support. And today is my birthday, but more importantly, it's great to see you back. I have not seen you in about a week. We have had some liberal withdrawals, but more importantly, I'm going to let you get back to your show. So
wait. Before you said you're running for, you call it mayor. You're running for mayor of Lafayette, Louisiana, correct?
Yes, correct. But down here they call it mayor president.
Oh, and what party?
Democrat Party.
Okay, so you do. I just want to make sure there was not a different type of party. So you're running. Okay, in Louisiana, you think is that? I mean, that's a major city, but the former mayor, are they Republican or Democrat?
Sure. So the present mayor is actually a Republican, and he just raised his salary from $120,000 to $175,000, and said that that was not enough. So I am running on deducting and capping the mayor's salaries at $50,000. That's one of my platforms. Other than that, I'm going to actually work on infrastructure. I'm going to work on improving the city and helping our houses, friendly neighbors, and pretty much allocating proper funding where it's supposed to go. So I'm here to work with the city, not against the city, not against one party or the other. I'm here for the people, which is why I actually chose the mayoral race. So I did run for office back in 2020, which was nonpartisan in Corpus Christi, Texas, and that was for mayor also.
Fair. And you're running, and that is your name. You're running under Priscilla Gonzalez, correct?
That is my name. I'm very transparent. Anybody can look me up. My website, PriscillaMayorForPresident.com, and I'm on TikTok. Everything's linked to everything. I appreciate it. I've actually received plenty of donations just from TikTok alone, just from TikTok friends. So I really just do appreciate everybody. I do have volunteers. I have a campaign manager who's actually a TikTok content creator, and we're going to win this.
Good luck. I will certainly look you up. Hopefully I can talk to you again in the future. Appreciate you coming on.
Yes, I do want to talk to you because there's somebody local who's actually flying a huge flag that is actually against the law. But more importantly, have a great day, and I hope you have a great show.
Absolutely a pleasure. Thank you, Priscilla. All right, looking in the comments. I don't vote for Antifa. Melanie for Trump. That is a strong opinion. Now, I don't know if you're referring to my last guest. I don't think there's anything she said that would put her in the category of being an anti-fascist. So I don't know where the Antifa, maybe this was something else, someone else or something like that. Looking in the comments, the money sent to Ukraine was bipartisan. Rosie, that is an excellent point. However, MAGA, talking about my beloved MAGA supporters, they don't support sending money to the Ukraine. And I will tell you this, I won't say once because we don't know, but if Trump is reelected, a lot of what the Republican Party is promoting will fall in line behind President Trump. There's a lot of dissenters among the Republicans for the former president. But if he gets reelected, the bipartisan assistance to the Ukraine, those wanting to help the Ukraine, I expect that number to dwindle. So many of you do too, because a hell of a lot of folks realize that their job is on the line. If President Trump is the Republican leader, he is the commander-in-chief, and you are a Republican and you're not down with the way he plans to restore America, your career is in danger. I mean, look how many careers Trump has destroyed. Looking in the comments on YouTube, PAB is going to prison. Who is PAB? Continuing on, we'll go right back to the box shortly. Tap the screen, folks on TikTok. Get your boy up to 20,000 likes. I appreciate you here rolling with your boy. Could be anywhere you want to be on this app, so it's always an honor to have you here with me. I always laugh that you guys think he's getting back in the, I guess you're saying back in our government, wanted Trump out. I don't quite get that comment. Mindy Seabach, I don't quite get that. I think people are tired of the Democratic policies. Depends on the policy, depends on the people. I will tell you this, banning abortion is absolutely not a Democratic policy. Even returning it to the states is not a Democratic policy. And look what is happening. Even in Republican states when it is put up for a vote. Kansas, Ohio, I'm talking to you. Even Republican voters are not fond, do not favor how far the Republican Party has went to the right on limiting access to abortion. Even at the level of suggesting it's only to the states. I've already pointed out Mike Pence, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, and even Trump himself has stated a federal nationwide abortion ban is actually possible. Mike Pence said it's the goal. So understand that. Many folks, even on the right side of the aisle, I'm going to assume particularly young fertile women, are not in favor of that. Going back to the comment section, appreciate you folks who are tapping the screen, 800 plus of you in here. TikTok, or better yet, YouTube too, how you guys doing? All right, we'll keep it moving. Bushmaster, 11 Bravo. Good afternoon. We're asking the question, if President Trump is promoting the best path forward for America as a Republican commander-in-chief, why are there so many Republicans all over social media, all over the news, speaking ill of the former president? Good afternoon, Bushmaster.
Good evening, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. You say good evening. Where are you located at?
Well, it's almost 2.
Okay. All right. Evening comes faster for some of us. All right. So the question I'm asking, why do you think there's so many Republicans speaking negatively of Trump if he's the man to put, to restore this country?
Because Republicans and Democrats are both the same.
So if Republicans and Democrats are both the same, and I'm assuming you're speaking in an unfavorable manner, correct?
I mean, look at what they've done to this country. We haven't really progressed like we should have. I mean, we got kids unaliving their babies, and I mean, it's just insane stuff going on in today's world.
So if both Democrats and Republicans have basically sent this country in an unfavorable direction, which is what you're kind of alluding to, if they haven't done a good job, why would Trump run as a Republican and run with those same people? Because you're talking about the House and Senate, there are Republicans as well. Why not run as a different party?
Well, I mean, he did say he would. If you remember at the very beginning, he said if you didn't win the primary to be run for president under the Republican ticket. Remember when they asked
Yeah,
everybody, and
yeah,
someone raised his hand.
I remember that, but he also said he would build a wall, said he would repeal and replace Obamacare. I'm asking, why wouldn't he do it from the start? Why would you have to wait and see if you're going to win a primary or not? If the Republican Party has not done a good job, which is what you're saying, why even start with them to begin with?
Because a lot of people don't pay attention to politics, and they'll just go and vote. There's a lot of people like that.
Yeah, but who is not paying attention to Trump at this point? I mean, if it's one thing that is really awesome about President Trump, whether you're on the right or the left, he's made us all more energized and more interested in politics. I don't think there's anybody, even if he ran as, the yellow party, everybody's paying attention to Trump.
Yeah, but a lot of that happened throughout his presidency too.
Yeah.
And then all the way up to the end. Even today, a lot of people are starting to get more involved because of Trump.
Yeah. So I would assume he could run as a third party now, as opposed to waiting to see what happens in the primary.
I mean, he could, but he's going to win the Republican seat, and I believe that he will come out on top doing that.
So let's say he does exactly what you're predicting. Trump wins the Republican seat. Now, when he won the seat in 2016, he made a host of promises, despite the phrase promises made, promises kept. You and I both know he made a lot of promises that were not kept. What leads you to believe if he is reelected, he's going to be more successful now than he was in 2016?
Because he knows more about what's going on up there.
So you're saying in 2016, when he made all these promises, you're basically making it sound like he was incompetent, like he didn't know what he was talking about.
No, there was a lot of stuff that he did, and his promises that he did keep. I mean, did he keep all of them? No, I don't. I think he was starting on to keep those, and then that's when they all turned against him real quick.
Well, but when you say turned against him, because you started out talking about how the Democrats and the Republicans have not done their job. Do you believe if Trump wins again in 2024, the Republican Party is going to cooperate with him this time as opposed to last?
Say that again.
You started out the conversation pointing out how neither the Republicans or the Democrats have done what was right by America. And I'm letting you know, if Trump gets reelected in 2024, similar to 2016, one man can't do it alone. You're going to need assistance from Republican Senate, Republican Congress, maybe even some Democratic politicians. What makes you believe he can actually get it done this time?
I think he'll have a lot more support now that they're actually seeing what's playing out. I mean, you look at the economy, you look at everything in general. Everything's worse. You can't say it wasn't better under Trump because that's just not true.
Yeah, I definitely think that most folks believe the economy was stronger under President Trump. However, let's take the rioting and looting that was going on in the summer of 2020. You notice under Biden, none of that seems to be happening?
Yeah, and that was going on because a lot of politicians were getting up there and using their political seat.
Why aren't they?
Political speech. Hold on, let me finish. What I'm getting at is they were using their political speech to rile up these crowds, and these crowds took that personally and took that to the streets.
So, and you think they were just doing this to damage Trump's presidency?
Absolutely.
Okay, fair enough. So, currently right now, as one of my guests pointed out, sending help in finances to the Ukraine is a bipartisan effort. Both Republicans and Democrats support helping the Ukraine. We know Trump does not. How is that going to play out with the Republican Party if Trump gets reelected?
Well, I'm just looking at Maui right now. Maui's like destroyed.
Yeah.
And you got Biden up there talking about sending more money to Ukraine. I think he sent 12 billion to Maui, and he's talking about 12 billion. I'm sorry, 12 billion to Maui, and he's talking about sending 40 billion to Ukraine.
Yeah. Well, but Maui, if you want to compare those two, Maui is fighting to restore what has been lost. The Ukraine is fighting to prevent from being lost permanently. We know if we back off and let me just ask it to you, what do you think would happen if we withdraw all assistance to the Ukraine?
I think we should withdraw it. I think we should have never gotten involved, personally.
Fair enough, but I'm asking you, what do you think will happen to the Ukraine if we do what you're asking?
I don't think anything bad's going to happen to them, personally.
So if we discontinue all assistance to the Ukraine, you think they'll be just fine?
Yeah, for the most part, absolutely.
What's making you believe that?
Why would he wipe out the entire population? That's just asinine to me.
Well, as opposed to wiping out the entire population, what about just simply permanently occupying it and claiming it as his own?
Well, that's something that they would have to settle between each other. I mean, wasn't Ukraine? Didn't they succeed from Russia?
Yeah. Just like America seceded from Mexico and France. What are you saying? France could come back and claim America?
Sure. I'm sure you've heard about it. There's been talks of Texas seceding from the United States. What is your opinion on that? What do you think we should just go and take them over if they secede?
Well, first of all, I think you have to get permission to remember the don't.
There's steps. Yes, I understand. There's steps, and you have to properly take those steps to secede. But apparently, maybe Ukraine didn't properly secede. So then, wouldn't they be in the wrong?
That's not what Putin is claiming, though. He's not claiming that they didn't properly secede.
I understand what Putin said. I've seen a lot of what he said. I'm not saying I agree with the guy, because I don't agree with war personally at all. But that's why I just we should stay out of conflicts that we're like Americans. If Americans involved, then okay, yeah, it's okay for us to be involved.
So just let the chips fall where they may in that case.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't be involved with that conflict.
Even if it leads to Ukrainians being slaughtered and basically succumb and become part of Russia and lose their sovereignty, you'd be okay with that result?
No, if it come to a genocide, no, that would be a different story.
Okay. All right. And as I stated earlier in our conversation, it is a bipartisan effort. So even most of the Republican Party, in terms of those who are in power, do not agree with that sentiment. So if Trump gets reelected, that would be something that would have to be hashed out between President Trump and his own party members.
I mean, sure. I mean, you got the administration now. They're sending cluster bombs over there.
Yeah.
I mean,
we want Ukraine to win.
What's really crazy to me is not this current press reporter or whatever, but the one before. Biden's, I can't remember her name. She was redheaded.
Yes, I know you're talking about. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
She made the comment that using cluster bombs was a war crime, and now they're saying they're going to send it to them. Make that make sense for me.
No, it's not. It's being hypocritical. I totally agree with your point. I mean, but that's what happens in politics. Like when they didn't want to let Obama appoint a Supreme Court judge, and then under the same circumstances, it suddenly became okay to let Trump do it. Politics is very hypocritical. I totally agree with that. But I got to move it on, Bushmaster. You know how we do here. Appreciate you coming in.
Right.
Good talk.
Good one, buddy.
Absolutely. You too. All right, looking in the comments, wait, are you a Trump supporter even though he's a flaming racist? Twilight Lynn Hobson. I lean left. You see the name of the program. However, in regards to the suggestion that Trump is a quote-unquote flaming racist, I'd love to have you elaborate Why you believe Trump is a flaming, that's some strong language, a flaming racist. And where does flaming, how does flaming tie into the description of what a racist is? Wow, a flaming racist. All right, going back to the comment section. Trump is going to get beaten like the rednecks in Alabama. That is an inflammatory statement, Sadie. Are you saying that on the House floor, Democrats are all going to pull their seats from behind them and start beating the former? What are you alluding to? You're comparing the election to the Montgomery Brawl. You're a Trumper. Sorry, brother. Unsubscribing on the YouTube comment. What the beck? I'd love to have you on, but apparently you're on YouTube, so I can't get you to elaborate on that. But listen, folks, if you watch the program, I make it clear my politics are I'm more of a moderate. I see some good on the right and the left. I understand in this tribalistic environment, either you are all the way on one side or you are a traitor and you should be on the other side. There's not a lot of tolerance for folks who can see good and bad on both sides. Currently, you need to see nothing but good on our side and nothing but bad on the other side. If you can't do that, then we don't want you. Makes it difficult. Makes it kind of difficult for moderates. Going back to the box. By the way, tap the screen. 750 plus of you in here. Get your boy up to 40,000 likes. Show your boy some love. We'll keep it moving. William Long. Good afternoon, William. Welcome to the program. Why are there so many Republicans criticizing President Trump if he's the guy to get the job done?
Oh, man, well, first of all, good afternoon. It's been a while since we spoke.
Good to have you back on.
It's President Trump, he's definitely hated by a lot. He's hated by a lot on both sides of the aisle.
Why do you think that is?
Well, when you look at the meat and potatoes, it's because he was an outsider, and he's still considered an outsider. You got to understand that Congress and the Senate is like a fraternity.
But wait a minute. Let me say
happen behind those curtains.
Let me say it this way. In regards to Trump being hated because he's an outsider, when Obama got elected, just like Jeb Bush, Hillary Clinton was expected to be the next commander-in-chief. Obama was also an outsider. How did Obama get loved by his party as opposed to Trump being criticized? Because they're both outsiders. Obama didn't have a lengthy political history. He, too, was not a typical politician.
No, but when Obama got into office, we didn't have the divide between the two parties as we did after he left office. Okay, before Obama took office, there was a lot of people on the right, including myself, that was like, you know what? And I did not know that much about Obama, his first term, because I didn't like what the Republicans were putting up. I voted for Obama first term.
Really?
Okay, I did. I wanted change. I felt that 9/11 brought Americans together, and I felt like that Obama was going to put us over the top, and finally this country was really going to start to heal. It's how I felt.
I gotta say this. I'm amazed often now they're critical of Obama, but I'm often amazed at how many folks who now support Trump state that they voted for Obama at least once or twice. And the reason why I say this is because when you look at the policies of President Trump, I don't see how anybody that supports Trump could have formally voted for Obama. Now, I'm sure you remember Joe the Plumber. Were you in favor of the policies that Obama was promoting back then?
I think I was looking at more of the change of the direction of the country between relations of the American citizen opposed to some of the policies. And I'm not blinded. Listen, most of the policies that go on here are made by the big corporates, the elites, Congress. The president really doesn't do much as in for policy making. So you kind of got to just ignore all of that. What the president does do, though, it creates a image for the United States, either positive or negative. Right now, with Joe Biden, we've got a very negative look on our country, and I'm going to tell you that because I watch and I stream overseas news,
Okay.
like their evening news, and most of the news stations over there, they're mocking us, and it's
Give me some country. Wait. When you say over there, give me where. I mean, is there Nigeria? Is there Russia? When you say over there,
Britain, Ireland, over there, across the pond, basically over in Europe. Okay.
yeah.
They're basically making fun of us.
Wait, so you believe when Trump was in office, Ireland and the UK, they thought they respected us more?
They respected, but they still thought that we were running a circus because it was Trump and he couldn't shut his mouth. And he put his foot in his mouth many, many times. And
What about Obama? What about Obama?
Presidency was him talking.
What about Obama? You said you voted for Obama. How do you think the world viewed under Obama?
Obama was a smooth talk. He was very educated. He was precise in what he said. He never popped off at the mouth. He was very calculated. Obama was a very good speaker.
So
He was a very good representation of the country. I just didn't agree with the policies, but he represented us in a professional manner.
So in other words, we looked better to the world under Obama than we did under Trump.
Yes. Optic wise, yes.
Okay, we getting somewhere.
Policy wise, no. Like we are more feared, and I know that people don't like, well, we shouldn't be feared. We have good intentions, so the good intention country, which is the United States, needs to be feared, because when people don't fear us, you get stuff like Putin's doing right now, going over and invading and not really caring about what we feel. Or, you got China and Russia right now doing a joint naval exercise up near Alaska that no one's really talking about. They're flexing their strength right now.
Yeah, but let me ask you then: if folks feared Trump, the moment Trump took office, he launched like 60 Tomahawks. I think 59 of them made contact in Syria to get the Russians to behave. They didn't leave Syria. The occupation of Syria still continues to this day. If folks fear President Trump, why didn't Russia leave Syria?
I don't think they knew how serious he was at first.
Isn't that his job to let them know?
I think President Trump did let them know. And how many conflicts were started while he was in office? The answer is zero.
Yeah, but how many were ended? How many ended?
That I don't know the number.
Yeah, I don't think any. I think all of the conflicts that were taking place when Trump took office. Even when we look at Kim Jong-un in North Korea, the reason we dislike Kim Jong-un, he has nuclear bombs. He talks a lot of shit, and he's often launching missiles over some of our allies. All of the problems we have with Kim Jong-un before Trump took office are still happening now. So
they are happening now, but they happened a lot less under Trump. Now remember, Kim Jong-un was firing test missiles during his first year as president. Then talks started going in the mix. Obviously, President Trump, our only president to step foot in North Korea, okay, and walk over there. You didn't hear much after that. Okay, there was a lot of de-escalation that was going on, and when you're dealing with world powers, there's certain, just like
you went on mute, William. Apparently he may have gotten a phone call. All right, we'll have to move it on. I wanted to ask him some questions on that, but we all are on smartphones, and sometimes when phone calls come in, it makes the callers go into mute phase. And listen, business happens or life happens. Looking in the comments, and William is always welcome back on the program anytime. We have our disagreements, but it's not about censoring folks at all for disagreements. I understand this is all about free speech. Looking in the comments, SG says gave North Korea credibility they didn't deserve. My humble opinion, that comment is spot on. And where I was going to direct the conversation is that even if Kim Jong-un limited or stopped his behavior temporarily under President Trump, if there is no long-term accomplishment, it's not a success. To say that he stopped firing missiles for a year or two when Trump was in office and he's doing it now again, then what Trump did is not successful. At the end of the day, we need treaties and agreements. Getting somebody to stop because they're scared of you, and knowing that they potentially may go right back to, I mean, we don't have dictators. Max, president's going to get 8 years. Max. Trump only gets 4 years max if he gets reelected. We need treaties and agreements. Getting somebody just to stop for the next 2 years, that ain't shit. Any leader, let's say Xi Jinping of China, if he wants to incur on Taiwan and Trump gets in office, and let's say he's afraid of Trump or he's very respective of Trump, you think it's going to really be that painful to wait 4 years and do it after that? So having somebody temporarily back down because they're scared of you, if you're not getting some type of agreement accomplished, is not really accomplishing anything. That's like putting a Band-Aid on it. Because as we see, Kim Jong-un is just as much of a tyrant after Trump as he was before. So giving him credit for getting him to cut it out for a year or two, I don't see where the benefit of that is. And by the way, that's what I would ask anyone who does. Now that Trump has met with Kim Jong-un, first president to do that, name one thing that America can look back on and say, wow, it's good he did that. Nothing. Nothing came out of it. Looking in the comments, Trump should have never been president, period. Wow. The proof is what we are seeing now. B-Ball, I'd love for you to elaborate. What are we seeing now to suggest that President Trump should have never been allowed in the White House? Yeah! Big Dog, appreciate the hat and mustache. Thank you. Thank you very much. Mo the Tuxedo Cat, good afternoon. Welcome back to the program. Mo, talking about why the hell are so many Republicans, if Trump is the best path going forward for this country, for the Republican Party, why are there so many Republicans all over social media and every damn where else speaking ill of the former president?
Well, you know, they want to be able to take money from poor people without having all the flack from all the dumb things he's saying, you know?
Elaborate, what do you mean?
Work quietly, like they used to, you know, stripping Social Security, stripping Medicare. They need to be able to do that without people paying so much attention, you know?
So you're suggesting that the Republican Party is not good for poor people?
Oh, yeah, no, the Republicans hate poor people. Absolutely. I mean, a lot of Democrats do, too, but you know, there's more so on the Republican side. They legitimately make policies to punish the hell out of poor people in this country.
I need an example.
Okay, I mean, they want to strip away Social Security. Making abortion illegal affects poor people more than it does rich people. Taking away food stamps, taking away school meals. You know, I could go on and on and on, but there are some examples.
No, and I don't disagree with any of them, but I want you to elaborate on your statement that banning abortion hurts poor people. Explain what makes you say that.
Sure. So poor people tend to have more children than people with money. Generally, that's because they don't have access to contraceptive condoms.
Whoa, wait a minute. How much does it cost to get a rubber? You don't have access to that?
How much does it cost to buy a meal? I mean, if you're poor, you're poor. Let's not go there, because that kind of comes down on poor people, and I don't want to do that with you.
Well, no, listen, the whole purpose of being is to let folks speak. So you can tell me I'm full of shit if you want, and I won't limit your time. But I want to ask, how can an adult suggest that they don't have access to some type of contraceptive? They give them away at the clinics.
If you're poor enough to where you need to choose between, you know, a meal in the morning and a condom, which are you going to pick?
I don't know if you can get that poor, because they give away, don't they give condoms away? Or, I mean, these things are free in a lot of places.
They used to until Republicans banned that program, right? Yeah, they used to. But then
I didn't know.
Banned that program too, right?
No, I didn't know that. They actually used to.
So yeah, they used to give condoms out. They used to give them in schools. They used to have them in girls' bathrooms at schools. But then Republicans are no. The children are going. Our precious children. They're going to have sex. but they're going to have sex anyway. So let's make sure that they can't get contraception. But yeah, man, poor people don't have access to contraception like regular people do.
Yeah, but if you are a person that's poor, so poor you don't have access to contraceptives, and you end up pregnant, how are you going to have an abortion? Costs money.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it does. Absolutely. I mean, you know, but a loan from a bank is going to cost you less over the long term than a kid.
Yeah, but here's what I don't get. You can find a way as a poor person to have an abortion, but you can't find a way to purchase a condom. That's where you're confusing me.
I don't think people put nearly as much effort forth into getting contraception as they do into getting an abortion. I mean, I just think that's people in general.
But if what you're saying is true, is that a case of being poor? I mean, I hate to use the word irresponsible. I mean, you're going to find a way once you're pregnant.
I mean, either or. It's not a non-fact that poor people have less access to contraception. Are you saying that they don't?
No. I'm not disagreeing with that point. What I'm saying is I'm tying it into your statement that abortion affects the poor because more poor people have children because they can't get access to contraceptives. And what I'm saying is, if we legalize if we legalize abortion, poor people can find a way to have an abortion, but they can't find a way to get access to contraceptives when contraceptives are a fraction of the price of an abortion. That's what I don't understand.
So if you're about to have a kid and it's going to cost you an average of $1 million over the span of your lifetime, yeah, you're going to work real hard at that. Contraception's kind of an afterthought, and you can call it irresponsible if you want. But pretty much everybody. But I mean, but before you do, recognize that pretty much everyone in this chat and you are probably the same.
Damn right. But I have to be. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I do have to play devil's advocate because some of your statements do create an opposing question. And one of them is you talked about when it comes down to having an abortion, if you're faced with having to take care of a kid and pay $1 million for the next 18 years, you start thinking things out. But what I'm saying is, if you only got to pay $1 or $2 for a box of condoms, that might be the better time to think about those 18 years and the cost.
Hey man, hindsight is 20/20. You know what I mean? But people shouldn't have to be punished for making a mistake. That's all.
And I don't totally disagree with that part at all. I'm pro-choice. I've made it clear. I'm so pro-choice that I think even a man should have some choices. But I do get your point. I just wanted to present the other side. So at the end of the day, because like I said, there's a hell of a lot of Republicans coming after President Trump. And you're saying they're doing it just as a grift because they don't want poor people to know what they actually really intend to do?
Well, sure, yeah. I mean, look, Trump makes a big spectacle, man, and they're tired of it. All the establishment Republicans are tired of his spectacle. They want to be able to do things quietly. They want to be able to strip things away from poor people quietly. They want to be able to be racist, with their trick words and their, the way they weave their narratives around the fact that they are racist but don't actually want to say it. They need to be able to get.
Wait. So you're not saying Trump is racist. You're saying the Republican Party itself is racist.
Sure.
Based
Most
on what?
Of them are, yeah.
Based on what? Give me some. Based on what?
Well, I mean, they genuinely. So, do you ever hear a Republican call a white person a thug?
Keep going.
Okay.
I don't have an answer for that. I don't have an answer for that. That's why I'm saying it. Keep going. I don't have an answer for that. Keep going, though.
I mean, do you ever hear a Democrat say that George Floyd was wrong and he deserved to get unalived?
Keep going.
I mean, there's lots of examples, you know what I mean? You could go all the way back to Rodney King, and you have Republicans saying, oh, he deserved it, man. He had what he had coming, man. The guy on the train that the Marine choked out, yeah, he had that coming, man.
Yeah, I do hear that often. Anytime there's a controversial killing of a black man, the Republican Party is usually on the opposing. Yeah,
in your chat real quick. Understand something, guys. Republicans are not half the country. You make a very small portion of the country. There are more centrists who lean left and independents and people who don't vote than there are Democrats and Republicans combined together. So don't think you're half the country, because you're not. You're not even close, bro.
How about they're close to being half of the country that votes and shows up on election day?
Oh, that's fine. If it's allowed, sure, I'll agree with you there.
Yeah.
But they're not half the country, period.
Well, yeah, but that's all that matters. If you are a Democrat and you never vote, then you really don't count.
I mean, if you're anybody and you don't vote, your opinion really doesn't
Right,
matter. I just don't
right.
want these guys going around thinking that they're like half the country or something, because you guys, you're not. You're really not.
Yeah, yeah. I don't, you know, something. I do agree that if everyone in America, if there was compulsory, I used to live in Australia and they had compulsory voting, meaning that when you turned 18, very similar to signing up for the Secret Service, you had to vote. You didn't have to pick any of the candidates, but you did have to answer the ballot, even if you just checked present. And they have that in Australia. I do believe if everyone had to state where they lie on the political scale, yeah, I do agree with you. There's far more Democrats or left-leaning people in this country than right. But unfortunately, say that again.
I'll go back to the argument of abortion again. You know, you guys are a minority, man. Most people don't agree with and I understand that your guys' argument on abortion is completely a morality-based argument. It's not factual at all. You guys your morality is actually the least popular type of morality. Overwhelmingly, the people of America want women to have access to abortions. And that is the morality that prevails in the majority. So what I would say is you're actually not moral at all.
I disagree on one point. I disagree on one point. Part of their argument, and like I said, I'm 100% pro-choice, but I do agree with their argument. Abortion is murder. You do believe it is taking a life, don't you?
Huh?
Okay.
Do I care? No, I don't care. Clump of cells, man.
So in other words, we both are supporting murdering of babies. You do realize that, right?
No. If there are only two genders, then a fetus is not a baby, right, Republicans? If you're going to stick with science, right, and say that there are only two genders, then a fetus is not a baby. Science has to be consistent, Republicans. You can't just use science when it works to your benefit. So if there are only two genders, then a baby is not a fetus.
Well, wait a minute. You don't see a fetus or an embryo as being a gender, do you?
No, but that's not the point, right? They want to use scientific terms and be scientifically accurate when it works to their benefit. But when it contradicts what they say, then all science is out the window.
I don't, but
trans men aren't men and trans women aren't women, but fetuses are babies.
But I don't know, Moo, if I totally agree. Let's say, for instance, a woman passes away and she had a partially, she had an embryo or a fetus inside of her. You could do a DNA test and see the X and Y chromosomes. You could tell what sex that was already.
Okay, that doesn't defeat my point that it's still not a baby. It's still a fetus. Okay, and that's my scientific definition. Right. I'm not making that shit up, right? Scientists say that.
Well, I'm gonna give you the same question you often hear that is directed at the transgender community when they say define a woman. Define what is a baby. If you're saying what's in her is not a baby, when is it a baby in your opinion? I don't need to
define what a baby is. Science has already done that. If you go online, you can see the stages of birth. I'm not a scientist, so you'll have to read at what point they consider a fetus fully developed enough to be classified as a baby, but it's not a conception. I can tell you that right now.
Well, no, I agree it's not a conception, but I don't know. It depends on the scientist. I mean, if we're talking about, let's say...
No, there is a general consensus from scientists. There are articles out there where you can read the stages of birth, and if you want to not be, not you, the Republicans, if you not want to be a dumbass anymore, go read and find out that fetuses are not babies. It's very easy.
I'd have to look at what you're talking about, because I don't know if I agree with that. If you got a 7-month-old fetus inside of you.
Keep in mind, we don't have to agree.
Damn right.
But you do need to concede to scientific fact and consensus, because if you don't, that makes you just as bad as MAGA.
Well, let me respond to that by saying this. While you're suggesting you have to concede to scientific fact, you would also concede that the scientists over time have often been wrong, such as saying cigarette smoke is not healthy. A lot of the scientific stuff that they stated on COVID, and I've been vaccinated every damn time, but all of that was not correct. Sometimes the scientists don't get it right.
That's the beautiful thing about science, my man. You can change when you find new evidence. See, that's the main thing about science, right? It's based on the evidence you have at any given time. That's the most important part about it. They're not just making shit up off the cuff, right? things change because you gather new evidence. And then you have to change your perspective. But it's not scientists who told you cigarettes were good. It's the cigarette companies who hired people to tell you they were good.
Well, I disagree with you 100% on science can change. The only reason science is changing is because you didn't know what the hell you were talking about before. You didn't have enough evidence, and you released some bullshit information.
You're putting it, I can't agree with the way you're putting things. It's not that you didn't know what the hell you're talking about. It's that you required new evidence, okay?
No.
When man first came on this earth, they thought a monster with a blanket covered the earth, and that's why nighttime happened, okay? But as you develop evidence, you find that the earth rotates and that the sun sets, okay? It's not that they didn't know what the hell they were talking about. They didn't have the evidence or the methods.
I cannot disagree with you more. What I'm simply saying is that if the scientists at that time was saying that night and day happens because there's a blanket covering the earth, we know that if a scientist from today could be transported back to the past, would tell them, you guys don't know what the hell you're talking about. They were wrong, period.
Why, and why would he say that? Because he has the evidence to prove them wrong. If he didn't have the evidence to do so, then he couldn't prove them wrong, could he?
But so if I'm telling you something today as a scientist, and in the future somebody will be able to show I didn't have enough evidence to say what I was saying, then I'm wrong, period.
Sure. But at the time, you're right.
No, you're not. You are not right.
That's the evidence you have.
All right.
That's
All right.
the evidence you have.
Okay. So if I don't even know where to go with that. We just vehemently disagree. All right, I'll leave that one alone. All right, Moo, I gotta move it on. But yeah, we totally disagree on that one. But come on back anytime, man.
You have a good one, my friend.
Hey, you too. You too. All right, looking in the comments, and listen, I don't always appeal to the audience the most. I see somebody in the comments, black fan or something, said win guest. So apparently you sided more with the guest than yours truly, and that's always your right to do so. Understand, like I said, I'm not here necessarily to even win or lose arguments, but if you think I'm losing, feel free to state so in the comments. Hell, even my ex-wife thought I was a loser, so I don't mind you folks telling me if you think I'm a loser. But what do I say on every broadcast? The program is MAGA friendly, always will remain. I don't block, ban, or censor anyone's comments, even if they think I'm a loser. Tap the screen. Get your boy up to 60,000. Nearly 900 of you folks in here at this time. I do appreciate it. You could be anywhere you want to be on TikTok. Always like having you here. Always like having you here. Why are there so many Republicans? If President Trump is the best thing going forward for America, comparing him to, say, Joe Biden or any other liberal that may look at the job, such as, say, Gavin Newsom. If President Trump is the best thing going forward for this country, why are there so many Republicans speaking ill of the former president all over social media? They're writing books. They're even on right-wing networks. Appreciate the TikTok cap. Who just sent me that? Thank you, that. Haven't seen a TikTok cap in a while. Thank you. But that's what we're asking. Why are there so many Republicans speaking ill of President Trump if he is the man for the job? If he is the best man for the job? Looking in the comments, Michael Myers said, well, I'm going to laugh at this. If you love her, chase her and never give up. Apparently that's a quote from Michael Myers of Halloween fame. Yeah! Golden lion, hat and mustache. Appreciate that. Thank you. We'll go back to the comments, or better yet, the box, because we realize it's all a play. They're just puppets, says Rachel. Well, if they are puppets, then who is the puppet master? I always ask because every president we have, there's always folks suggesting that that president is a puppet. Puppet for who? Who's controlling the strings? Why are there still so many people still supporting this guy? Is mind-blowing. Damn, what was that? That arcade game, Theodore. That was beautiful. That was fucking beautiful. Thank you. Why are there still so many? Now, B-Ball said, yeah, you guys are really generous today. Got your boy screaming. Thank you. B-Ball says, why are so many people still supporting this guy? Is mind-blowing. Now, we're talking about President Trump. Remember, he got, what, 70 million? What do you think 2024? You think he'll get more votes in 2024 or less? Or somewhere near the same? I would do a poll, but just more, less, or the same. Type that in. I like to see that. You think Trump will get more votes this go around, less votes, or somewhere near the same? Would then depend on President Biden. I don't know if Biden will get somewhere near the same, so that could be a detriment. Because remember, the record suggests that President Trump, although he lost, got the second most votes of any presidential candidate in history. So if he gets the same, he could actually win with that. I see somebody says way less. Going back to the box, we'll keep it moving with the, what is that says, Brian Pocket Aces. Is that a poker phrase? Pocket Aces, almost sound like a cheating phrase there. Pocket Aces, good afternoon.
You don't remember me. I'm the guy that you said was liberal, but I said I was conservative. Remember that?
Yes, you had some pretty strong left-leaning views for someone suggesting it. Now, if you are a conservative, you do believe President Trump is the man then, right?
No. Okay. So you asked a question. I'm gonna tell you what the answer is. First off, what I did is I need your address, because I'm going to send you a whole box of shovels so you can keep giving them to these people so they can continue to bury themselves. Because I've been watching this shit now for about an hour and a half, and it's unbelievable how much they talk in circles and just absolutely bury themselves. They can't support an argument to save their life. Anyways, it's true. It's a great program to watch, man. I really appreciate you. I said it before. I think it's great to watch. I mean, they just keep going on and on and on, and then they end up right back in the same spot, and it's fantastic.
Well, you know, I like to let the. By the way, Lady A60 with those hearts, they definitely go appreciated. Thank you. What I like to do is I allow the folks to speak, because some folks also educate your boy. Yeah. They teach your boy a lesson. That's why I don't block, ban, or censor anyone.
Here's what it is, and I think I understand it a little bit. This is just an opinion, man.
Okay, go ahead.
Opinion, you know? Don't yell at me. I'm not. Listen, you got people in here talking about abortion and all kinds. Listen, I'm not a doctor. I'm not an economist. You know what I'm saying? I'm retired military. I've been all over the world, but I mean, I'm not an expert in anything, but. It seems to me like I live in Georgia, and it seems to me like so many people supported Trump because they really did want change. They wanted some kind of change.
They say that about Obama, though. Wait a minute. They said the same thing about Obama.
Right. No, and you know what? It worked for Obama. I mean, I'm just saying it changed from one to the next, to the next, to the next. Like it always changes. You know what I mean? I'm just saying this, and now it's changing now. I mean, in my opinion, the only reason why Trump won in 2016 was because it was in the bag. You know what I mean? Like the Democrats just thought it was over with. I mean,
True.
Clinton on a betting odd was 8-1 to win. I mean, She was an enormous favorite. That's what I mean. I run a book, so I mean, she was 8-1.
But here's the thing the issue I had when you and I talked last, because you said you were conservative. Now, you obviously are pro-choice, right?
What? Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Do you believe abortion should be limited in any way at all? Yeehaw, Rudolph.
Yes, I do. I think there's limitations on everything.
Give me an example. Give me an example.
Gun rights.
No, abortion. Abortion. In what way should abortion be limited?
Yeah. No. I mean, you got to have some kind of limitation. Like, you got to have a time limit at which the baby couldn't. You know what I mean? Couldn't be born, or somebody got raped, or you know what I mean? Some kind of.
Okay.
Let me ask you
this way: a woman is 3 months pregnant, so that's not necessarily a viable fetus, but she's 3 months pregnant. She's broken up with her boyfriend, and she just wants to get rid of the kid. I'm not with him no more. I don't want to have the child. Should she be allowed to exercise pro-choice?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you're conservative.
Yes.
Okay. Now, we talked about the Second Amendment. Let's take the Ubalde situation. An 18-year-old with no criminal history whatsoever, no issues with mental health, just turned 18, wants to use money he saved up from his fast food job and purchase an AR-15 and maybe a few magazines and 1,000 rounds of ammunition. Has no criminal history. Just turned 18. Should he be able to get the weapon?
That's insane. That's insane.
So he should be blocked from getting an AR-15.
Yeah.
Why?
Because the only reason why you have an AR-15 is to unalive people.
You're
I don't know
conservative.
last time you went to when you went to squirrel hunt with an AR-15, but I got a 308. I got a 308 that'll do a lot more damage. You know, like stop.
But wait a minute. So let me get clarity on your statement. You said the only reason a person would have an AR-15 is they want to take human lives.
I mean, what other reason?
Self-defense?
Coyote? I mean, no, because you would own a shotgun.
You can't use an AR-15 for self-defense?
I wouldn't.
But that's you. Some people wouldn't use a shotgun. That's you.
Oh, listen, I don't give a shit what you own. I mean, own whatever you want to. This is an ignorant argument because you're never going to win. You know what I mean?
Right. And I agree that there's not going to be a victory, but I just ask you, seeing where your mindset is, because you're saying you're a conservative, and this is just like last time. Your opinions sound more like somebody on my side.
If you want to.
Huh?
I'm just saying, if it was up to me, there's no point in owning it. That's all I'm saying. There's no point in it. But I mean, is it gonna do any good? I don't know that question. You know what I mean? Like we've never gone through that, so I don't know. But
if it came down, let me say, if it came down to a vote where you had the ability to vote against citizens having the right to own an AR-15, you would vote against it, right?
No, not necessarily. It depends on the vote and what the bill was. Like if the bill was better to where they had a lot more controls over weapons and things like that, then sure, I might lean the other way. Yeah.
What do you mean when you say controls? Give me some examples.
I'm just talking about gun regulation. I mean, right now, I don't believe you gave me an example of a 18-year-old kid being able to go to Walmart, buy an AR-15 and unlimited ammunition. That to me, that's crazy. But I think it's crazy for any weapon.
Yeah.
18-year-olds right now can't wipe their ass. They can't get a job. Better yet, own a gun.
Yeah. Listen, I'm a liberal. I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I don't believe in 18, but I'm just saying your statement, it sounds like somebody on my side of the aisle, not somebody that's a conservative. That sounds like a liberal statement.
No, I mean, maybe it's maybe it's just the military. But I've seen a lot of irresponsible people own weapons, and they shouldn't. You know.
Hey, let me give you another one. There's a huge push on the left side of the aisle to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour nationwide. How do you feel about that?
Don't call me ignorant, Mike.
Don't read it. Wait a minute. Brian, you're focused on me. Ignore the comments. People have free speech. Ignore that. You're talking to me. $15 an hour minimum wage. How do you feel about that?
I think a lot of it depends on how people choose to spend their money. I think that the largest part of this country that's the biggest problem is that people spend their money incorrectly. You can go into most people's houses and look at their budgets, and it's totally messed up.
So if it came in your area, what state are you in?
Georgia.
If it was on the bill to make the minimum wage in the state of Georgia $15 an hour, would you vote yay or nay?
Yeah, I would say $15 an hour in Georgia. Yeah, if you can't, you know, work your finances to where you're working a minimum wage job at $15 an hour. Hell, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with.
I'm not arguing cost of living isn't too high. That's not what I'm arguing. I'm just saying, at what point does minimum wage become regular? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no more. There's no more.
The point I'm trying to make is, I don't think the side you've fallen on all of these questions is the same side I would fall on, and I lean left. That's what I'm saying. When you say you're a conservative,
I'm no soldier, motherfucker. Say that again.
Don't do that. You obviously are focused on the comments. So, what about the Ukraine?
No, I'm not. Hey, listen, I was just trying to answer your question.
I didn't say nothing about a soldier.
No. But your initial question, I never got to. We got into abortion and all kinds of weird shit.
All right, and that's because you mentioned that.
Listen, I'm no constitutional expert. I don't claim to be. You know what I mean? I'm not in here telling people what it's. That's not my place.
As a conservative, how do you think Biden is doing so far?
Good.
Why? Based on what?
I mean, if you look at us compared to the rest of the world, we're doing pretty strong right now. The dollar's strong. The Dow's staying over 35,000. I think he's doing a good job.
How do you think Trump did?
I think that. I mean, I don't think he could have done bad the way that the economy was running. The world economy was nuts at the time. I mean, everybody was making money. And so, I mean, anybody could have been president then. So it wouldn't have mattered. What I'm saying is that right now, yeah, prices are high, but they will level off for sure.
What about Biden assisting in Ukraine? Do you favor that?
I don't necessarily favor it, but I think it's a Cold War tactic. I don't think that America gives a shit whether or not Ukraine wins or not. I think they're trying to drain resources from Russia. Yep. The longer we keep that war going, the longer Russia has to spend money. That's it.
I think that is an excellent answer to that particular question. I agree with that.
It's almost like in the 70s when we armed the Taliban to fight the Russians in Afghanistan. It's the same thing. It's a Cold War tactic.
Okay. All right. Well, so at the end of the day, we're getting back to, before I'm moving on, the original question was, why do you think there's so many Republicans? Now, you clearly don't think Trump is the best candidate for the Republican Party going forward, even though you say you're conservative. Who do you see as a good presidential candidate for 2024? Now, you're a conservative, so who do you favor?
Well, I think the better question is the original question that you asked, which is what I wanted to answer.
Let me have it.
The original question is, why do so many Republicans now starting to go against Trump now versus that? And that's the only question I really wanted to answer. I don't know how I got in this.
Because your party affiliation doesn't match what you said, but answer the original. Go with that.
I think what happened is that now we're dealing with a situation where so many people have selected a certain candidate and they just want to not be wrong. In other words, it's almost like the Dallas Cowboys. You know what I mean? Like, the Cowboys are going to win it all, and they feel stupid when they don't. Do you see what I mean? Like,
I don't see that though. I mean, when you look at Mitch McConnell and these folks who are,
I do.
Who did they select?
I think they're finally abandoning ship because Trump has given them the availability. But like where I live, if you're not, I've lost friends because I don't support Trump. I've been surrounded by conservatives for a long time, and because I didn't support him, they stop talking to you.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, they go, but now they look dumb. You know what I mean? Like, now it's not going to be well when Trump wins again. I mean, Trump loses again, which I wholeheartedly believe that he does. I think that he loses, and I don't even know if he's the candidate. To be honest with you, I don't even know if he wins the primary. But if that happens, then they look, and now they got to go and eat crow. So it's not even necessarily about whether or not it's like your team versus my team. Do you know what I mean? It's not even about what's right for the country anymore. It's like a competition. It's like we're playing a fucking sport.
Well, that is the nature of politics. So let me ask you this then. Taking Trump out of the picture, there are a few other Republicans running for the same position. As a conservative, you say you're conservative. Do you support the Nikki Haley's, the Tim Scotts, Vivek Ramaswamy? Do you support Chris? Do you support any of them?
No.
Wow.
No, because I'll tell you why. Because they've been so scared of this guy for so many years. I think once the Republican Party starts to get back to the roots of the Republican Party of lessening regulations on certain things, not to a point at which it hurts people, but sure, that's the way it goes. Less regulation, more regulation, back and forth. Sure, but right now they're scared to death of him. You know what I mean?
So is it based on your statements then? is it safe to assume that you as a conservative, after saying that Biden has done a good job, is it safe to assume that the conservative version of you thinks the country will be better off with Biden being reelected?
I can't say that because I can't see the future. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I know that I watch a lot of TikTok videos and I watch a lot of people and things like that. And a lot of that stuff is such misinformation. It's ridiculous. Kind of like the American dollar shutting down and we're all going to go to digital currency and this, that, all that such bullshit.
Yeah.
And we'll be dead before that happens,
Yeah.
you know? And it scares people. It scares people. And I don't like that. The fact that we can't go, you know what? I tell you what, here's the one thing I like about Biden that I didn't like about Trump. And it's the one thing that I like the most, and then we can stop, is that he listens to the other people around him. He appoints people to cabinet positions. He goes, hey, what should we do about this? And then he does it. You know what I mean? Like, instead of going, hey, if you don't agree with me, I'm going to fire. I know more than the generals. I know more than this guy. No, you don't. No, you don't. You know what I mean? Like, you
No,
don't
listen, I lean left. You get no argument from me on that at all. But I got last question before I let you go. If you had to vote right now today, you didn't have any more time to do any homework. Based on the candidates running now, you got Biden running, you got Marianne, Williamson, you got a few folks on the right. If you had to vote today, what would you do?
Yeah, you have to, you as long as it's not Donald Trump.
So you believe all of the candidates on the right and the left, everybody's a better choice than Trump.
You know what? I don't. There's no way to know. I mean, I would like even if it's a Democrat, at least get a better one than Joe Biden. I'm not even a Joe Biden fan. You know what I mean? You asked me these questions.
You said he did a good job. Why would you not be a Biden fan if you're admitting he did a good job?
No, what I'm saying is that what the cards he was dealt, holy shit, man. I mean, this whole thing could have went bad, and it didn't. I mean, the America is on a much better road than I ever dreamed it would be at this time. Coming off the only time we've ever seen this in our lifetime, we've never seen the world shut down. And I mean, that's
good point. All right, Brian. Interesting conversation as always. Come on back anytime. You know what we do around this time.
Hey, it's all good, man. Hey, good luck to you. Keep handing out them shovels.
Come on back anytime, man. All right, looking in the comments. And the reason I ask you, I really wanted to answer the primary question, and that is, why are so many Republicans speaking ill of Trump all over the media? But the conversation went a little bit left simply because I've had the guest on before, and he states that he is a conservative, and I wanted folks to understand the context by asking them various policies from abortion to gun rights and things like that so you could hear his answers, because he says he's a conservative. It doesn't sound like he leans right to me, but the man says he's a conservative, so you got to take him at his word. So that's why we presented it. Looking in the comments, yeah, you proved he wasn't, says Lori Anderson. Well, the man says he is. So I'm not going to call the guy a liar. I'm just simply saying his policies resonate more with folks like me who lean left. I lean left. And I agree with most of the shit he was saying. So that's all I'm saying. Going back to the box. And by the way, tap the screen. You guys might get your boys somewhere near 100,000, but let's go for 70,000. Let your thumbs not be lazy. Tap the screen. Get your boy likes up. Conservative with sense, says Rosemar 771. I like that. I'm a moderate. Hopefully some of you folks may consider me to be on the other side, maybe a liberal with sense. Hopefully. Not sure if Brian knows the difference, says Steve. Yikes. That's because the conservatives today, the majority are crazy MAGA. What makes MAGA, quote unquote, crazy? Yikes. All right, we'll go back to the box real quick in the comment section. Conservatives who actually reads. Nothing wrong with that. We ain't lazy. You just got some crazy colors, says Hurricane Blazer. Come on now. Yikes. You are not a moderate, says Lori Anderson Zeitler. If I'm not a moderate, Lori, darling, let me know what side of the aisle you believe I'm on. If I'm not, do I lean too far left? Do I lean too far right? I'm not a moderate. I'd love to hear your opinion on that. Going back to the box, we'll keep it moving with the truth will set you free. Appreciate you folks that are in here. Try to move it along. I do appreciate there's a bunch of you guys holding. Tap the screen, get your boy up to 80,000. You know I'm trying to urge you guys along. We try to deliver good content. As always, the program is and forever will remain MAGA friendly. Nevertheless, liberals are welcome as well. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone, even if you disagree with the host. Truth, good afternoon.
How's it going, sir?
I'm in the trenches. I'm being challenged today, but I'm asking that question. If Trump is the best candidate going forward, why are there so many people in his own party speaking ill of him all over social media?
As of recently, is because right now Trump is saying the thing that the American people want to hear, not what Congress wants to hear. Because, for one, Trump wants to limit their powers and limit their paychecks.
He's always said that. But Trump has always said that. Is there anyone who supports Trump, and I'm assuming you do as well, do you believe Trump would successfully, do you believe Trump has a chance of successfully giving you term limits, for instance?
Oh, 100%.
You think that Trump, if he gets reelected, you're gonna walk away with Congress or Senate having term limits?
I think that when Trump gets elected, he's going to show a lot of people a lot of things. And there's going to be some things people don't like, and there's going to be a lot of things people do like. But I can guarantee you the American people as a whole will be a lot more happier with Trump in office than if any other candidate were in office. Up to and including that, whatever the hell they're now running as president.
So you say people will be a hell of a... How do you think the LGBT community will feel? You think they will be happier with Trump as president?
This is another argument where you can't really win against a liberal, because they think that, oh, Trump's this and that, he's going to strip away from the LGBTQ rights and he's going to make it happen. He's not going to. He's going to make a center for people that don't do it and people that do it. He's not going to take away any rights. What he's going to do is he's going to make it where they have their own platform where they can do whatever they want, just like other people in this country. He wants to kill kids. They have people. He's going to protect their rights, whether or not you want to believe it or not.
Well,
but he's not going to give them any more rights than a regular person.
Trump stated that if he gets elected, he's going to ask Congress to go by the gender that is on your birth certificate for your entire life. Meaning that if you decide to transition, you will never be able to change the gender on any of your official documents. Do you think the LGBT community favors that?
I don't think they do, but it doesn't really matter, because when it comes down to legalities, it's not going to matter for anything. Just like if you want to become a woman, like say if you're a man and you want to become a woman, there is no way biologically that you can become a woman, but you can pretend to. So why, if you can pretend, why would you get that automatic legality? You're a woman. That doesn't make any sense. For one, taken away from women's rights.
Do you think the transgender community agree with what you just said?
No, I know a lot of them won't, but actually I do know a lot that would.
So I go back to my original statement to you. Do you think the LGBT community will be happy if Trump is our next president?
I think that they're going to be surprised on what he does, and I think there's always going to be the stinkers. There's always going to be someone that doesn't like it. But in all generality, it's gonna be the best for them and for everybody in the country. Just like your other person was saying about Trump, how when he was going over there and talking to like Kim Jong-un and he was talking to Putin and everything, like he was creating relationships with them. And Trump expected to go for 2 terms, okay? So what he was doing is in his first term, he was creating relationships and understandings between these other leaders. And then when he went for his second term, that's when he was going to write his policy and his treaties and whatever.
Yeah, but why would you do it that way when you're not guaranteed a second term?
Because that's just okay. Look at Obama. That's the same way he tried doing things. That's the same any other two-term president. What you do is your first term, you get relationships, you get talks between the two countries. And then your second term, which you do try to run for, because you're not just going to be like, oh, well, I'm not going to have a second term. You're going to try being the best president. You're going to try having the best term. You're going to gain relationships, and then after that, you're going to do politics.
Okay, so if that is the goal, you're gonna do this the first 4 and then do this the second 4. When Trump gets reelected at this point, he's starting over from the first 4. There's very little of Trump's accomplishments from 2016 to 2020 that are of any value now. He's essentially, because Biden has gotten rid of everything he could get rid of. So he's essentially starting over at this point.
Yeah, I think the first year and a half of Trump's presidency, he's going to straighten up when he needs to straighten up, and then he's going to have to work a hell of a lot harder than he would have. It's plain and simple, because okay, I said this before, and the people that know, there's no way in hell that Trump's going to lose this presidency. It's not going to happen. No matter how bad you want it to, no matter how bad you try to manifest it, it's not going to happen.
Now, just to clear things up, you do believe he won in 2020, right?
You know, I fought that for a long time, and I'm not saying that he lost or he won, but I think there's a hell of a lot more chance that he won, because the irregularities that people completely and utterly just deny, you got to know that there was something going on, whether or not it was stolen, messed with, or whatever the case may be. But if anybody thinks that election was not meddled with in any way, shape, or form, you have mental problems, like beyond anything that medicine can save.
Well, I will tell you this. Appreciate that, puppy. Thank you there, Congie. I will tell you this. In regards to a country the size of America, there is never going to be an election where somebody doesn't commit acts of fraud. The only issue where you and I may have a different side of the aisle on is that the Republicans, particularly MAGA, believe that 100% of the fraud in the 2020 election was all in favor of Democrats. I don't think I've ever heard a Republican suggest that the Republicans cheated at all in any way. Even if you watch Dinesh D'Souza's 2000 Mules, they assumed that 100% of the irregularities that they saw were all in favor of Democrats, and there's just no way to do that.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I mean, anything's possible at the end of the day. I mean,
100%? That's possible?
Okay, let's do 80-20 at the very least. That way you can have a little bit and I can have a little bit too.
Okay, and even then we don't know, but let's go with the 80-20. Here's the problem I have. Trump didn't claim election irregularities. He claimed he won by a landslide and that Biden stole the election from him. I haven't seen him produce any proof that Biden actively was working to steal an election. Where did that come from?
Because Biden wasn't the one actually. If you were to do it, you wouldn't shit where you eat. There's other people, like every politician is owned by lobbyists, because politicians are in politics.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything that's gonna make them money, they're gonna do. There's a lot of people that wanted Biden in the position that he's in.
But that's not him. But that's not him.
What do you mean?
If there are people that want me to become president and they commit some kind of crime to make sure I get in office, that's not me. You don't get to say I stole it. I didn't do that.
Yeah, well, when you're with somebody and like say you steal shit from Walmart, if you're with somebody that did that and you don't tell them, you're party to a crime, are you not?
Wait, repeat that?
If you're with somebody and you steal like retail theft or something, and you're with that person, and then you two leave the store, and he was the one that actually stole it, but you didn't tell him. You didn't tell nobody or tell the cops that he did it. You're party to the crime.
No, you're not. If I take you to Walmart with me right now, and while we're in there, I put some shit in my pocket, you're telling me you deserve to be arrested for that too?
Did I tell on you?
No, you didn't.
Well, then I should be just as guilty as you are, because if you know when you did something illegal, if you know that person did it, you should be at least half as guilty as that person.
There is no requirement that you report a crime in America. There's no requirement unless you're serving in the course of an employer that, like if you're a police officer, that's different. But as a citizen, you're never required to report a crime that you didn't take part in.
Okay, so say you're walking around with a buddy, rapes a woman. What? You're not going to tell anybody?
I don't have to by law.
but you're not going to from a moral standpoint.
Now, moral is different from criminal. Yeah, I would say something morally. I may even get involved to stop it. But legally, there is nothing that can be done to me if I see somebody being assaulted and if I do not interfere in any way.
Well, when it comes to running your country, I think that warrants telling a tattletale for sure.
Well, if what you're saying is true, I mean, not true, but if the country was ran in the manner you suggest, where if you see someone breaking the law and you do not interfere, you too are guilty, we would probably eradicate most police departments in this country all the way back to the beginning of time. Because we know the thin blue line is exactly about that, where you can't snitch on fellow officers because it could cause you problems with your job. Would you be okay with that?
Here's the way I think: is if you do something wrong, whether it's moral or not, if it's something whether it can hurt another person, or in this case, hurt a country, you better believe that you deserve to be prosecuted.
Okay. I mean, listen, I'm with you on the moral part, but I don't listen when it comes. Like I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I saw a hell of a lot of crimes being committed. Hell, I may have participated in some. Oh no, fucking no. Someone just apparently reported my last caller and had him taken off. Truth, definitely put in an appeal. I do believe there's a chance you might get your account. I mean, you didn't say anything that was worthy of being taken off. You support Trump. You have a right to do that. But he didn't say anything that was worthy enough for what just happened. So I don't know, folks. I see in the comments, Marion is asking why. I don't know why TikTok bans folks so easily, because that is apparently somebody in the comments. I hate, even though I lean left, it's probably a liberal, because nobody on the right would have had a problem with what he was just saying. Some liberal that doesn't like either him or the fact that the program has 900 plus folks in here tuning in to hear your boy talk daily. So could be that too. We are growing in size, and there are haters from that standpoint. I don't know what the hell, but it does piss me off when folks are on here trying to state their opinion, and in his case, doing absolutely nothing fucking wrong, and something like that happens. Really pisses me off. Looking in the comments, me says I believe in free speech. It wasn't me. Yeah, I'm the same way. Shout out to Shaggy. It wasn't me. Don't make excuses. It's a liberal. I'm not, Alexander. I believe that. I do believe you're correct. I believe that. I don't think that anybody on the right would have had an issue with what he was saying. Most people on the left would not have had an issue with what he was saying. He supports Trump. He has a right to do that. Just because you don't support the former president, or you like Biden or what, you don't get the right to tell somebody else who they can and cannot support. You show up at the polls and you vote and you try to get your guy elected. That's how it works. Looking in the comments, that really pissed me off. Truth was pushing for snitching. He got snitched on. Laugh out loud. That's somewhat funny, but it's wrong. I didn't want the man to get banned. He got reported. Why are people getting defensive over freedom of speech here? I don't know, Alexander. Well, actually I do. Now I'll go back to the box shortly. Tap the screen, get your boy up to, you guys can take your boy to 100,000. We got 87,000. Tap the screen, 800, 900, almost of you in here. Show your boy some love. In regards to folks getting defensive over freedom of speech, I think that I'm an example that I do believe in freedom of speech no matter what side of the aisle you're on. I get folks that are highly critical of your boy all the time. I don't even ban and block the ones calling me Sambos and sellouts and all that bullshit. But whatever side of the aisle you are on politically, I do believe you're entitled to state that. So I don't block, ban, or censor. However, when it comes to the actual parties, you're damn right that happens. I don't give a damn what side of the aisle you're on. Freedom of speech is limited. We know what's happening on the left. We hear about woke and cancel culture and all that shit. However, the Bud Light controversy, that's also canceling people because you don't want them, or Target selling clothes that you don't like Target having. You're not going to escape freedom of speech by voting right or voting left. Fact is, if you speak negatively of President Trump and you happen to be a Republican, see how far that goes. See how far you go claiming to be a Republican and criticizing Trump in any way. Both sides of the aisle are not a fan of freedom of speech. Everybody will tell you they're for freedom of speech until you say some shit they don't like, and then you realize, no, they're not. Here, we try to avoid doing that. We let the people speak. So understand that. Looking in the comments, says you are very correct. Appreciate that. They aren't canceling. They are choosing not to buy their product. Corey, they're shooting cans of Bud Light. That's going a bit beyond choosing not to buy their product. Choosing not to buy the product is not buying the damn product. Why is it on Fox? Why is it on this? Why are there memes? You're doing way more than simply choosing not to buy the product. You're targeting this company because you don't like what they're doing. That is cancel culture. That is a boycott. All this shit that the liberals get accused of. The right is capable of doing that. Got people bitching about the Little Mermaid because they happen to choose a mermaid cartoon that's not even fucking real, that happen to be different from the original. So you're not going to escape wokeness, cancel culture. Hell, what the hell is going on in Florida? All of a sudden, slaves are benefit. You don't think that's cancel culture to actual fucking history? You don't escape cancel culture by leaving the left and going to the right, or vice versa. They both do it. They both do it. They just have a different way of making it happen. Going back to the box. Appreciate you folks that are holding. I'm pissed off with my last caller. Normally I would end the program, but 900 plus of you folks in here, you got your boy to 103,000 or whatever. I do appreciate that. Jen Xer, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Welcome back, Jen Xer. If it lets you in here, can you hear me? Gen X.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good afternoon. You know, the original question I was asking is, why are there so many Republicans? If Trump is the best candidate going forward for this country, why are so many Republicans openly criticizing the man all over social media?
Well, I don't know about the criticism, but I would definitely, and you know me,
They're calling it, they're calling him a criminal. Some of them are, like Chris Christie. They're criticizing him pretty hard.
Well, that's his opponent. Of course he is.
Okay. So you think
Chris is the opponent?
Yeah, but there's a lot of folks that are not his opponents that are also saying it.
People that were his allies at one time?
Yeah, people that he hired, people that he gave jobs to, people that he was touting as great politicians are saying negative things about him.
Yeah, I think a lot of them swamp people are going to hate on Trump, and I mean, like you said, that happens on both sides of the aisle. When it's no longer convenient to support, you oppose.
I don't know if I've seen, I don't know if I've seen anybody suggesting that Biden committed treason or he tried to temporarily suspend the Constitution. You got Mike Pence saying that Trump actually tried to deny voters their legal right. You don't have any competition. Don't normally do stuff like that.
Well, not Trump, but Pence is also running for president. He's trying to get the vote to run. So yeah, of course he's going to say nasty shit about the guy.
Yeah, but you got Biden has competition. They're not saying he tried to suspend the Constitution.
Those that are unethical are going to do whatever they can to win. If you take someone like Ramaswamy, who's not in it to win dirty, he's actually said on January 20th, 2025, he'll pardon Trump.
Yeah, he did say that. So you said unethical. You see Mike Pence as lacking ethics?
I see them all as lacking ethics, bro. All of them.
What has Mike Pence done? I mean, this has got to be the most Bible-thumping. I don't support Pence in any way at all, but he's got to be one of the most honest guys since Abraham Lincoln. What has Mike Pence done to make you say he's unethical?
Turning on Trump.
That's it?
Well, I mean, I don't have anything else off the top of my head. You got it through that.
Well, the guy served an entire 4 years as president or vice president. After serving and he was also Indiana governor, and then he's been talking since Trump and himself have been out of office. You should, if he isn't unethical, there should be a hell of a lot more than just what happened on January 6th, wouldn't there?
Well, I think Mike Pence is also unethical, and he doesn't have a backbone, man. Even if he believed in what he was saying, if he didn't think it was going to do him any good, I don't think he's an ethical man. I just don't.
So even
there's very, very few ethical people in politics.
So if Mike Pence, as he suggests, if he checked with the legal eagles that surround him, and they told him he could not do what Trump was asking, you're saying he should have had the balls and done it anyway?
If he thought it was right, yeah. But whether he thought it was right or whether he thought it was wrong, he went with the status quo. That's what I believe.
No, he went.
I don't think Pence had an opinion either way.
He went with what his handlers told him. I mean, the fact that he even checked with his handlers make it clear he was willing to investigate whether he could do what Trump was asking him. He was told he could not constitutionally do it.
I think that's debatable, but
you think he's lying?
I do.
Why? Why would he do that?
He's like every other politician, man. I think he's like every other politician. He's going to do what he needs to do or say for his own benefit.
But if he had done what Trump asked, he would be serving a second term as vice president and far more likely to be a decent candidate for president in 2024. So it was in his best interest to do what Trump asked.
I don't understand. You run that by me again?
Okay.
If he'd have done what was in his best...
You said
Go ahead, say it again.
You're saying that Pence did not do what Trump asked because he was thinking in his own best interest. The point I'm making is if Pence had followed Trump, assuming that what Trump said was true and could be done, Pence would now be on his second term as vice president and a much stronger candidate for president in 2024 because Trump would be coming to the end of his second term now. And we would be saying good things about Mike Pence.
But how long would that have been in his best interest? That's my question. We're talking immediate gratification. 4 years, he's vice president for 4 more years.
Yeah.
While the shit keeps on getting stirred up. How long is that in his best interest for? What's in his best interest in the long run? That's what I question. I don't know what's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's what I would throw.
Well, I will say this. Even right now with Trump as a U.S. citizen right now and not president, it's clearly, just looking back, clearly it's in Mike Pence's best interest to toe the party line of MAGA because he has turned to shit since he's gotten on the opposing side of Trump. So it would have been in his best interest whether he could legally do it or not because he's doing far worse now that he didn't follow Trump.
Well, I'll give you that because before Trump he was shit, during Trump he was all right, after Trump he's shit again. She kind of threw that one, man.
So I have to ask this question, and if Mike Pence is such a unethical, shitty person that's capable of lying like this, why did Trump appoint him as vice president?
You have to ask Trump that. I have no idea. Why does Trump do a lot of shit he does?
So is it safe to assume you agree with me in suggesting that Trump appoints a lot of really bad choices?
Oh, absolutely.
So what
absolutely.
makes you...
Like I've said this before. Trump is a showman. He's going to do whatever brings more limelight on him because he's a showman. And does that make a good or bad leader? That's debatable. I don't know. I know this. Every motherfucker in this country knows the name Donald Trump.
That is true, but when you say it's a showman that brings limelight on himself, it sounds like you're giving a lengthy definition for what normally is referred to as a narcissist. You're saying he's a showman that'll do whatever to bring limelight on himself. Are you sure you're not talking about narcissism?
Semantics, Tim, semantics.
So, all right, before I let you go, so let me ask, based on what you've said, he is a showman, we'll go with that. And he is known for making bad appointees, putting the wrong people in positions. Do you think he's the guy we should put back in the White House?
I do not.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
I think I'm all Trump. I'm MAGA, but Trump is for me. Trump is not for my country. He will not do what's best for the United States because of the divisiveness. Anytime you got somebody that's got such a polar following, be it Biden, Trump, Hillary Clinton, you're going to keep dividing the country. If you got a Democrat that kind of some conservatives can swallow him, like RFK, we don't all like him, but I'd take RFK over Biden any day of the week. I think a lot of people, and I'm not speaking for everyone, I'm speaking for some, I think a lot of people could stomach Ramaswamy or even Christie way better than Trump. We got to get rid of this divisive, man. It's fucking killing us.
That is
With anybody like that in office, it's not going to help us. It's not going to further our cause as Americans.
Wow. I didn't expect it. That is refreshing as hell. You know, I will say this. I think when you talk about people that folks can stomach, I actually think Chris Christie is that guy. I think even on the left, because folks on the left are so upset with Trump, even if they don't like Chris Christie, they would take Chris Christie every day of the week and Sunday over President Trump. And as folks on the right, the only reason people on the right don't like Chris Christie is the same reason they don't like Mike Pence, and that is because he went against Trump. But both of those guys, whether it's Pence or Chris Christie, is going to give you all of the conservative policies you want. It's just they went against Trump. But I do like your answer, is that if there is one thing we need to progress away from, it is the divisiveness. I don't see any problem with that answer at all. But Gen X, good talk. Appreciate you coming in.
My man, I'll talk to you soon, man. Have a great day, Tim.
100% a pleasure. All right, looking in the comment section. I like that answer. I really like that answer he gave. And by the way, for my beloved MAGA, those are the anti-Trump conservative-based commercials being ran on television. You got a hell of a lot of folks just like Gen X that are MAGA Trump supporters saying that, you know, I voted for the guy, got flags and everything, MAGA flags and everything, but he has too much baggage. They're running commercials like that now. Some of you folks in the comments, depending on what state you are in, may have seen some of those where you got Republicans saying that Trump is the guy, they like his policies, just like Gen X said. He does what's right for me, but not what's right for the country. They're literally running ads to see exactly what that man just said. Looking in the comments, Pence wasn't go. Okay, I think I'm reading it. You didn't type it right, but belaze me. You said Pence wasn't going to go to jail for the criminal. And in my humble opinion, I think there's some validity to that. Certainly when it comes to what's going on now with the January 6th case that just came out and the documents case. You notice most of these cases against Trump, there are co-conspirators. There are folks that are in Trump's inner circle that are working with the government because he didn't do this stuff alone. Just like you pointing out, Mike Pence didn't want to go to jail for President Trump. If he had done what Trump was asking him to do, he would probably currently be a co-conspirator. And that is what's happening, is that these folks are coming forward, either the ones that Trump asked to help him do what he wanted to do and they said no, or the ones who said yes and are now being charged with a crime. They're all working with the feds. So that's going to become a problem. I understand a lot of MAGA, a lot of Trump supporters believe all of this shit is a witch hunt. We'll find out, but understand there's a hell of a lot of Americans serving time because their lieutenants or close associates testified against them. That is a very common way to lock up Americans. There's a hell of a lot of them speaking out against Trump. People who were in his inner circle, in his fucking house, even people that were in Mar-a-Lago, recording shit, taking notes and handing them over to the feds. Doesn't matter how you feel about President Trump. I'm just here to state there's a lot of Americans, even folks high up on the pay scale, many elitists that have went down because folks close to them started talking, started singing like a bird. Just want to point that out to my folks who suggest Trump is going to defeat 70, what is it, 78, 74, 70 something federal cases. I think most of them are felonies, aren't they? Like 70 felonies or some shit like that. So I want to point that out. Witness testimony is, you got a hell of a lot of witnesses to discredit. It's a lot of them. And I don't know, I talked to my last caller, Gen X, stated that Mike Pence is unethical, a liar, and things like that. Listen, Mike Pence on January 5th was a highly respected Republican and member of MAGA. As of January 6th, he was just a piece of shit. It's not supposed to work that way. It's just not supposed to work that way. If you could point out a host of policies he was doing wrong and all of that, and Trump was trying to get rid of him, let's say Dr. Fauci. I know you guys have a hell of a lot of criticism of Fauci. You could point to all kinds of shit you thought Fauci was saying that's not correct or that was wrong. There's nothing on Mike Pence before January 5th. That's Trump's entire term. One action turns the man into a piece of shit. That may work in the circles of MAGA. That may work among Trump supporters. That's not going to work in federal court. You're not going to discredit a man based on one act in federal court, particularly when they're saying the act is criminal. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Looking in the comments, a lot of us MAGA have been calling Pence a piece of shit since 2017. Fat FNR. Well, if so, then it goes back to my other go-to question. If all of these folks, and it's not just Mike Pence, by the way, there are other folks that are in the Trump administration or that Trump personally appointed that you guys think are pieces of shit or they're bad for the country. Then it goes back to my go-to question. How do you feel about re-electing Trump if he's known for appointing people that you think are in the worst interests of America? Dr. Oz is a perfect example to suggest that Trump still has not got it right. Most MAGA were not fans of Dr. Oz, even though Trump was adamantly trying to make him a Pennsylvania senator. So clearly the ability to make bad appointments is still part of President Trump's spiel. I mean, how many bad appointments did he? Herschel Walker completely, just probably the worst one of all was Herschel Walker. So clearly President Trump still has the knack for appointing bad people. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because no matter what path you think Trump is going to take this country on, whether it's the best America we've ever had, you got to take into consideration, this is not a dictatorship. This country is ran on a republican. This is a republic. This is a republic. This is a democracy. It has to be done with the cooperation of the House, Senate, various governors, and a host of other issues. One man can't do it by himself. And if that one man is known for making poor appointments, how do you expect him to accomplish the things he's promising you? If he is going to surround himself with the worst and darkest, remember the best and brightest? The worst and darkest. And I'm only saying that not for my own personal opinion, but that is what I hear from MAGA. You guys hate the people he surrounded himself with. So how do you think he's going to make the accomplishments you're suggesting if that is what he's known of doing, is hiring horrible people? This is not Lee Majors, folks. It's not the Bionic Man. He can't do it by himself. If he does not correct his ability to appoint legitimate, good people, you're going to have the same thing in 2024. And we'll do exactly what we did. We'll be blaming the liberals for trying to block him, when in reality, he's known for appointing incompetence, according to MAGA. All right, going back to the box. By the way, appreciate that somebody notified me in the comments, 120,000 likes. Yikes. That's a lot of love. 950 of you guys in here. I do appreciate that. Definitely some active thumbs. I always like the likes. I'm never going to hate when you get over 100,000. So 120,000, wow. Let me go back to the box. We'll keep it moving with Current Thing Advocate. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Why are there a host of Republicans criticizing President Trump? That's what we're trying to find out.
Well, I don't see it. I was at the golf club this weekend. I mean, there was just the amount of support I saw there Friday, Sunday when he was there.
You're talking about from citizens, though. Wait, you're talking about from Republican citizens. We're talking about politicians and people in power.
Well, that's right on too. We think Trump's the anti-regime guy, and like, it's pretty much a uniparty system, and Trump's not in the uniparty. Of course, they're angry. Like, you just saw that recently. He went at the golf club, he invited Laura Loomer, this dissident, far-right activist lady. She's completely ousted from the whole D.C. circle of politicians. She's a well-known name. She sat down with Trump, and all these people started freaking out. Why? Because she's not part of the system.
So let me ask you this then. If Trump is not part of the system, and folks who are part of the system do not like him for that reason, if he gets reelected, he's going to be surrounded by people that are part of the system. All of the Republican senators in Congress are part of the system, and we know the liberals have no love for him at all, leading to the obvious question: how can he get anything accomplished if everybody in Washington dislikes him?
Well, he's coming back with hellfire. I mean, Project 25. How many people does he want to fire? Like 50,000? I think that's a good start. You do something like that, that's a good start.
So you think coming to Washington and literally throwing everybody under the bus is going to create some type of unity with the president?
We don't want unity. We want to push conservative ideas and get the country moving in the right direction. We're not, like the whole unity thing, you want unity, elect a Democrat. We want people who aren't scared to be called racist, be called xenophobic. We want people who aren't scared of all this stuff. If you want that unity bullshit, like that last guy who was talking, vote for Joe Biden if you want unity. Go drink your Bud Light. You know, if you want a real conservative you want a real conservative that's gonna go push the country forward and actually have the possibility to get the next guy in there that's gonna push the country even farther forward. Because that's the thing, Donald Trump, he messed up when we had Mike Pence. That's why everyone hates him. Donald Trump goes in there, he starts shooting blanks at the regime. He starts missing. They go in there, they win the election black. They're not shooting blanks. They're fully loaded, 50 caliber.
You gotta understand. This sounds like a mission of revenge.
Yeah, hellfire.
And you think that's what this country needs, is a vengeful commander in chief?
Oh, yeah, 100%. So in my view, like, the country is circling the toilet. And if we don't have someone that's going to get in there and shake something up, we're not going to have a country worth fighting for in the next 25 years. So that's my whole thought process behind this. We need someone in there that's so far out of this system that's going to go up there and shakes this thing up to possibly give us a chance to sneak in a crack for someone to get in there and make a push.
So how do you respond? Now, this is a comment that I saw in the comment section. Obviously, somewhat aimed at what you're saying, and I want you to give me your spiel on it no matter what you have to say. Sinfire says, Trump will destroy America, will destroy democracy. How do you, because folks do believe that. Even Mike Pence is suggesting that Trump was trying to do that. How do you respond to that as someone who supports Trump?
Destroy democracy? I mean, I don't even care about democracy, honestly. Like, look at the last election. We all know what a lot of us think about that. I mean, look, we lost our faith in that.
Wait a minute. Explain that comment. You do not care about democracy. To the layman, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so the system we have in place, we lost faith in that stuff. We're on, like, I mean, that's done. I mean, we don't believe that stuff happened. Like, we don't, like, I know you can't get into that on here, but no one believes in any of that. We all lost faith in that.
So if you get rid of democracy, what do you have in place?
Hopefully just Trump gets in and he never leaves. That's my whole thing. Like, we need someone to get in there and make a push. Like,
you sure you ain't trolling, man?
No, I'm not trolling. Like, we literally need, like, someone that's, like, almost like because look what happens when you don't have someone that's going to make a strong change. Look at every strong nation ever. Like, look at the strong nation in Africa right now. Strong leader, complete control, and he has the ability to, like, if you're going to save this country from circling the toilet bowl, you're not going to do it with people like Ted Cruz, Chris Christie, Dianne Feinstein. You need an extremely strong, far-right, almost borderline fascist, is what I'm going to say. That's going to need to take control of the military, take control of the media.
All right, okay. You trolling. All right, so you do support.
I'm not trolling. I 100% believe this.
So you
I don't think women should vote.
Why not? Why shouldn't women be allowed to vote?
Well, one, because they're emotional thinking creatures. Their job is to create. That's why they're such good homemakers. They create. They're peacemakers. They find the best of both sides, and they create solutions.
Let me interrupt you and ask you. Hold on. Let me interrupt and ask you this question: do you care about having access to your profile?
No. They're all gonna ban me. I get banned.
All right, I gotta go. All right. I don't know. Listen, folks, I don't ban, block, or censor anyone, but damn, I do believe the guy was a troll. He said he was not, but I don't even think that people who truly feel the way he suggested come out and tell you. That's how much I think he was a troll. If somebody feel that way, they're not going to admit that shit. So I had to move it on. Anyway, folks, you know what? Yeah, messing with you, no shit. Michael Aguilar, yeah, he was definitely, I mean, essentially there's a lot of folks on the left that believe Trump is exactly like my last caller was suggesting. And that's what that sounds like, is that you had somebody on the left coming on to defend Trump by portraying him in the worst way liberals have pegged him. I don't believe that last caller. I'm just gonna tell you, I don't believe that last caller was being authentic. So we're not intelligent enough to make an intelligent decision about who we want to run the USA. Temmie Green, I think we are. And I understand you're responding to him suggesting that women should not be able to vote. Well, when you really think about some of the details he was giving, that women should not be able to vote because they're too emotional and things like that, maybe we need some of that. Because some of the things being done now that we don't favor, even folks on the right do not favor, are being done out of complete lack for emotion, such as a woman not being able to terminate a child even if it was forcibly put upon her. That lacks emotion. That's a piece of legislation that says fuck the woman, basically. Yeah, somebody took your innocence and impregnated you, but we don't give a damn about that. That lacks emotion. So maybe we do need more female politicians if emotion has anything to do with it, because there are some decisions we make in this country where it might make a little bit more sense if you sat back, used your damn emotions, and thought about what you were trying to implement before just going ahead and doing it. But that's just my opinion. Looking in the comments, that's why Dems are wanting trans women to compete with women. So what are you saying? I don't favor that, by the way. Let me just say this in regards to playing for the opposing team. Although I don't favor it, I do believe it has a hell of a lot of transphobic notions to it. The reason I say that is because it's such a minuscule issue. It's kind of like a few years back, there were folks in Republican states passing laws to prevent Sharia law from becoming the law of the land in different American states. I think Texas passed a law banning Sharia law. Tennessee did it as well. That's how Middle Easterners run the law. It's based on, you know, Allah and all of that, and a lot of religious shit. I don't know enough about it to go too much in detail. But the point is, there was no major threat to Sharia law taking over the country. Just like when you talk about transgender athletes, a biologically born male identifying as a woman, then trying to play sports on a female team. Although I don't agree with it at all. Fact is, it's such a minuscule issue that it should not be getting the amount of attention it's getting, other than hatred towards that community. It should not be this. I mean, you got more people complaining about it than you actually have actual issues of it happening. If you had to name how many biologically born males are playing on female sports teams at the various schools all over America, there's got to be tens of thousands of elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools that have sporting teams. You're talking about way under 1%. Yet the Republicans are passing laws like this is a major, major problem. This is what I'm talking about. I don't agree with it. I don't agree that you should be able to transition and play. I'm 6'6", 300 pounds. If I play on any girl's team, certainly football or basketball, I'm going to be a pretty good athlete, even though I suck playing with the men. So I don't agree with allowing a guy to do that. However, it should not be getting this kind of attention. It just should not. Because there's just not anywhere near enough actual instances of this occurring for it to be getting the attention up to and including laws being passed against it. It's very similar to the Sharia law thing. Just creates a lot of hatred towards that community, leading people to believe that they're in mass trying to infiltrate women's sports and ruin all of the history of the sport. And it's just not happening. It's just not happening at all. So wanted to bring that up. Looking in the comments, and somebody said Glad has been banned in Oklahoma. You're not stopping anybody from doing it, though. Fine, you banned being a transgender athlete in Oklahoma. Hey, I'm happy you're happy. But at the end of the day, how many transgender Oklahomans did you affect? Virtually no one. Nobody was trying to do it. It's like putting a law out there that says I cannot identify as a white person. If it makes you happy to put it down on the books, go for it. It's not going to matter a difference to me. I'm not trying to do that anyway. So good luck with your law. Looking in the comments, it changes all records in women's sports. Connie, I agree that a man identifying as a woman and playing a woman's sports has the potential to break all the records. The point I'm making is there's not a lot of people trying to do that. There's not a lot of instances where transgender children are trying to do stuff like that. Even if it was made into law where it could actually happen, it would be so unpopular that I don't believe most transgender people would even want to do it. If I transition as a woman and go into the boxing ring or the MMA ring and start beating the shit out of women, do you really think anybody's going to really champion me as a hero? You really think I'm going to have any fans? You're a dude. Of course you should be beating their ass. Nobody's going to like me. I'd probably have some men when I walk out of the stadium trying to beat my ass. It's not something you'd really want to do in the first place. So I don't think you needed a law. I think the law is designed to highlight the trans community and draw more hatred towards them. And that is what exactly is happening. Out of the LGBT community, the letter T as in Tom, the hatred is off the chain currently. Anyhow, folks, I'm in my travels. Got to get back on the highway. I do appreciate you folks rolling with your boy. 133,000 likes. It's always an honor. Catch you guys in the next live stream tomorrow. YouTube. Feel you guys roll with your boy throughout the entire show. Do appreciate that. I seen a few comments come up on YouTube. As you can see, I'm starting to move the live over to YouTube, but it's a much, much smaller audience on YouTube. I haven't really been promoting it on YouTube. I mean, I got up to over 1,000 people in there, 20, 30 of you folks in here, but hopefully if you guys enjoy the live stream on YouTube, I'll keep it here. So do appreciate you guys rolling with your boy. As always, see you tomorrow.